Hey, it's Jared with Gear and Light. Today we're going to talk about 10 reasons why photography is the best side hustle and how you can get started. Now, this is a conversation I get into quite often because photography is one of those things that everybody wants to get better at, and a lot of people dabble in photography, and they've often wondered what it would look like if they could do that full time. Now, I've been a photographer since 2005 when I picked up my DSLR camera for the first time and decided to start shooting photos. And I quickly fell in love with the process and got asked to shoot photos for a friend. And it's just been a career of photography since then, along with other things. But photography has always either been a side hustle for me or even at times a main focus area as far as my business goes and what's actually driving income so that I can sustain life and afford a family and a place to live and all that good stuff. So we're going to jump into 10 reasons, and then I'm going to give you a couple of examples. And I spent a lot of time thinking about this because photography has been a side hustle for me at times, but it's always been integrated into everything else that I do. And there were times when I shot photos full time. There was times when I was a wedding photographer for a couple of years in a row. That was my main focus. And prior to that, I was building up to it. And then after I decided I didn't want to do wedding photography as often, it transitioned into other aspects of photography. So let's jump into those 10 reasons why I think photography is a great side hustle. And I hope what this does is it prods you forward towards looking at photography as something that could potentially change your life as either a career or make your existing life a little bit easier by providing additional revenue or income so that you can take a vacation, you can stop doing overtime at that job that's just really tough. Whatever the situation is, let's jump into those reasons. The first is that you'd be providing a professional service. Now, not many of us are able to provide professional services. We think of professional services as doctors or lawyers or something like that. Photography is a professional service because while we all have smartphones and it's very easy for us to go out to Best Buy or something like that and buy a camera, most people are not able to capture the images that they really want to see when they need professional photos. And so a professional photographer is still needed, even though we think of the fact that everybody has these great devices that can capture good images. A professional photographer is still somebody that needs to be hired. And that line is becoming more clear because, yes, if I just need a basic photo, I can grab my phone and do it. But if I need a professional photo because I'm trying to communicate something or I want a nice photo for the wall or something like that, I'm going to hire a professional for that. Smartphones haven't solved the issue. People are still too busy to learn photography, and some aspects of photography are just far too tricky for even the enthusiast photographer out there. So professional photographers are still needed and they are hired all the time in a variety of different ways for a variety of different industries. The second reason is that you get to set your own schedule. For the majority of types of photography that are out there, you are able to set your own schedule and work when you want. Sure, if you want to be a wedding photographer, you're probably going to be shooting a lot of events on weekends, and there are aspects of photography that pretty much link you into somebody else's schedule, but photography, for the most part, is a set your own schedule type of career or side hustle. And for me, I'm able to do some real estate photography, product photography, and a lot of different aspects of photography on my own time and setting my own schedule. Most of the time, the things that I'm taking pictures of, I can choose the time of day when I want to go out and do that, and I can choose the time of day and even the location and where I want to sit and enjoy the editing process. So photography is a career or a side hustle in which you can set your own schedule and do that in that extra time that you have outside of the career that you're currently in. Number three is that you can be as busy as you want with photography. Now, when I was full-time in photography shooting weddings, I would shoot dozens, sometimes as many as 40 weddings in a year. My very first year, I shot even more than that, and I could be very busy. But as I scaled back, I decided there was more of a specific type of wedding that I was going after. And then as I transitioned out of wedding photography and got more into commercial and event photography, I looked at the type of events that I want to shoot, and then the type of products that I want to shoot, and I can be as busy as I want in that. I don't have to say yes to everything. I just have to say yes to some things, and that's really nice because as a side hustle, I get to pick and choose which jobs I take and whether or not they're interesting to me, or whether or not I have the time to tackle them. As a side hustle, you have the ability to say yes or even refer that out to another photographer that you may know. And it's great being in that side hustle position because it's not your main income, or maybe not your main income yet. So if you are too busy with other things, you can say no and you can refer people out, or even ask if it's something that you can do a little later down the road. You can be as busy as you want, or be just the occasional photographer just dabbling in it a little bit, getting started. And that's what makes this a great side hustle. Number 4 is it gives you permission to do what you love. I love photography. If you're on this channel, maybe looking around, you probably enjoy photography. I love getting out there with my camera and shooting photos. And doing some real estate photography from time to time has given me the ability to visit beautiful homes and properties and shoot photos of them. Doing some product photography has given me the ability to really hone in and learn lighting a lot better and play with interesting products and food products and eat things that are just really cool and share that with the world. And so as I've kind of transitioned through different aspects of photography, it gives me the ability to continuously learn, which is what I love about photography. And so whatever it is that you enjoy about photography, being able to get paid to do it means supporting your habit of maybe buying some new stuff every now and then for your camera setup, and expanding and getting that next lens, getting that next camera body that you've been interested in looking at. That is how my photography career started. I bought a Canon 20D and a very basic lens, and I shot a wedding and I was able to buy a lens. I shot a couple things for friends. I was able to buy another lens, and then I upgraded my camera body, and then I realized, wow, this is something that I could do professionally, and so I started doing that and accumulating more gear and equipment. So starting a photography side hustle definitely gives you permission to do something you love. Number 5 is that it's really a lifestyle business. You can craft your photography career around the lifestyle that you want to be a part of, or that you want to exist in. So if you want to live by the beach and you want to be around that environment, you can create a photography career around that, a side hustle where you're shooting stuff out on the beach, portraits, you're shooting surfing, you're shooting editorial stuff out there in that form of lifestyle. And you can basically create any lifestyle you want around photography, because communicating through images is needed in all aspects of life. We communicate with images, photography, or moving images in video, and that is needed in all aspects of life. So whatever area you want to emphasize in your life and be more a part of that, you can do that with photography. So photography allows you to focus on building and just working in a specific lifestyle that you find attractive. The 6th reason to start a photography side hustle is that it allows you to make an income around your interests. If you are interested in hiking and exploring, take a camera, go create beautiful images, and sell those images. If you're interested in sports or action sports, being a photographer in that space allows you to be a part of that industry and that lifestyle, and that's an amazing thing, especially if you're wanting to get involved in that sport. If you love food and beverage, food photography is a great way to get introduced into that world as well. You can make an income around your interests by creating images for yourself or for other people around those interests. The 7th reason is that photography allows you to travel or stay hyper local. Whether you want to be traveling and exploring and seeing different things, photography definitely opens up a lot of doors there, but also as a person who maybe wants to remain local and be more a part of their community, photography opens the door for that as well. As I mentioned earlier, photography is a communications method, and as you create images and produce things for others, you're able to connect and find more places to travel or find deeper ways to connect with your own community. Photography as a side hustle is a great way to do that. And number 8, it can become a full-time thing. It doesn't have to remain a side hustle. Photography can become full-time after you start to create a client base and get yourself going. That's why it's a fantastic side hustle. It's something that you can start out slow and build up over time to the point where then it becomes something that replaces your existing income, giving you a business that you're running yourself. Number 9 is that it's great for relationship building. Photography has been the key for me to connect with others. As somebody who is somewhat introverted and can be extroverted if I need to be, but mostly prefer to be introverted, the camera is my key to connecting with other people. When I go to an event or I show up at a function and I am a photographer that is hired to be there, I'm talking and communicating with people and getting to know people and networking, and it's just a great way to break the ice and start conversations with people. Especially if you're creating amazing images for them, it allows a deeper connection to instantly be created with those people, and it's a great networking tool. And then number 10 is it's a fulfilling career. If you didn't catch that from number 9, photography is a very fulfilling career. Whether I've been shooting weddings or shooting portraits or events, the images that I'm able to create for people are something that bring them pride, that make them proud. When they look at the images of themselves that I've created for them in whatever environment that they are in, it brings pride and joy to them, and it lights their face up, and I get to experience that. The comments that people have is, your photos are so fantastic, but in reality, it's what they're doing and how I was able to capture it. What they're doing was already great, whether it was their wedding or a speaking opportunity that I captured or performing in a sport or something like that, and I captured that. What they were doing was great, and all I did was froze their greatness and put it on display for them. And it's a fulfilling career because you're capturing moments and immortalizing them for other people to enjoy for the rest of their lives. So how do you get started? Well, that's the big question. How do you get started in photography as a side hustle? Well, the first thing that you will want to do after you have a camera and you understand that camera and you're ready to start taking pictures for other people is to ask friends and family. Now, friends and family are always needing photos, whether it's personally for their family or individually, or maybe even for a business that they own or are starting up, they need photos. And so you can get in there and have opportunities to work closely with them and create images for them to build your portfolio. You will need some sort of a portfolio so that you can show others some of the work that you've created. With friends and family, it's easier to ask what you want of them in those areas so that you can create the kind of portfolio that you want before you go out and start marketing to clients or trying to find clients. Number 2 is to partner with a nonprofit. One of the things I did to create relationships or to build relationships with others was to work with a nonprofit. I found a couple of nonprofits that I thought had really good missions and that I wanted to be a part of, and I went and captured images for them at their events and of their facility and stuff like that. And those people that work with nonprofits often have businesses and other aspects of their lives that they need captured, and so that opened a lot of doors for me to work with people who had budgets for bigger projects and needed a photographer. So that was a great networking tool. Number 3 is to make sure that you're sharing what you're creating on social networks. Now, of course, we can go out and take a bunch of pictures and post them on social media. I don't think just posting good photos is enough anymore. You need to be a storyteller and you need to explain what that photo was achieving for the person when you share it. And so if there's a photo that you share from an event that you captured, what does that photo convey and what is going on in that event? Being able to share with somebody what is going on in that image and why that image is important, they will then match that together with the ability that you had to capture it well, and that will create a connection within the person. So share your work on social media so it could be seen, but don't just post stuff and say, a photo I took at blah, blah, blah last night. No, tell the story of what's happening there so people can connect to it, and that builds emotion and builds a desire in people to have you capturing the same type of images for them. Number 4 is to make the ask. The amount of times that people told me, oh, I forgot that you're a photographer, even though they know me, and that seems kind of crazy that maybe a person wouldn't be able to make that connection or even remember. People are busy, and unless you are doing something often enough to where you're on the top of their mind all the time, then they're probably going to forget. And so you need to make the ask. If they're talking about something and you're thinking like, well, what they really need is a photographer for that, then make the ask. Ask them, do you need a photographer? Like, I'm actually doing that on the side right now and I'm available and would love to do that for you. Make the ask. Don't be afraid to ask. And especially going back to number one, when you ask friends and family, after you have done some work for friends and family, or even the people at the nonprofit organization, make sure to ask them if they know anybody else that you could be working with, that you can be creating images for. Most people are not ready to just make that suggestion automatically, so you need to make that ask, and then that gets them thinking, well, actually, yeah, I know. My buddy has this business and he needs these captured. Or, your images are fantastic and my daughter is getting married. Like, let me recommend you to her. Or whatever facet of photography you're in. Without making the ask, you are not letting that person know that you are ready to move on to the next job and that you want that opportunity. So you have to make that ask these days, especially with how distracted we are. So lastly, I want to invite you to sign up for my free course, How to Start a Photography Side Hustle. I shot out a whole bunch of reasons why photography is the best side hustle that you can get started in, but it's a lot more complicated than that. What does photography as a side hustle look like as far as getting clients, delivering on your promises, delivering the images, even editing and delivering them? What process is best for that? What does it look like in forming a business? All of those things I want to answer in my free course on how to start a photography side hustle. So make sure to use the link in the description below to sign up for that. So click that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when I put out new videos. My desire is to help you become a better photographer and also help you take that next step to perhaps being a photographer professionally. So make sure to click that link down in the description to get my free course, and I hope to see you there. Take care.